What is going on, guys? Craig 1287 here, bringing you yet another VR essays video, again being shot outside in this lovely, beautiful Friday weather. It's Good Friday, and yeah, shooting this outside, just drinking me some raspberry lemonade, taking in the weather, and just a nice comfy setting to be doing these VR essay videos. In this one, this is, I believe, episode 6. Hopefully this one isn't as long as some of my previous episodes, but who knows, I can ramble on. So this one I wanted to talk about not something that's as serious or whatever. Some of my earlier episodes, my previous ones have been like, oh, this could be the doom, PvP might be dead on arrival, and motion sickness, and that stuff fairly serious for the VR industry. But this one a little more lighthearted. Loot boxes. Loot boxes have been a rising trend in a lot of games, whether they be shooters or not shooters, whether they're multiplayer or PvP. And I don't know how many times I've discussed this in my videos. I was a Magic the Gathering player big time back in the day. I used to play competitively and won a lot of prizes and stuff off of Magic. Still have a lot of my cards, and a lot of them, the value of Magic the Gathering has shot up. People thought that it was going to, crash because of the rise of the video game industry, but that hasn't been the case. Magic has been booming. So for me, I have been well experienced in booster packs. I mean, that's just how you got cards. You either traded them, you bought singles, which were traditionally expensive, or you paid about $3.50 or whatever it was, I don't know what the price is these days, to get a booster pack. And you got, that guaranteed rare, 3 or so uncommons, the rest were commons. And but there was that sense of mystery. You're opening this thing, and you don't know what the rare is going to be. Could be a foil. Jace, I think, was one of the more expensive ones that came out when I was getting out of Magic. Jace the Mind Sculptor, I think is what he was called. And yeah, you get something like that, and you could sell it to a store for hundreds. And so I'm very used to that, well before the video game industry started capitalizing on these loot boxes. But lately, over the last 5, maybe 6 years, I guess, is where the trend has really been catching on. A lot of free-to-play games did this, but now, I mean, things that make sense, like Hearthstone, you're gonna obviously open packs in that. But things like Overwatch, a lot of EA games with the Battlefield, you got those battle packs. And then we're seeing it in just so many other shooters, even like serious kind of titles, and it's just something that's become so common. And so it's just that it gets those endorphins going. It gets the you get that, just it's addictive. People compare it. You can look at the studies that actually look at the physical effects, physical things that are going on within your brain, and the chemical releases that are happening inside of your body when you're opening these loot packs in these games. And it's comparable. You can look at the numbers, you can look at the stuff, and it's comparable to people that are taking drugs. The chemicals that are released in the brain. And so people are really starting to capitalize this, and it's one of the things that makes a lot of these, especially on the mobile market. Mobile market has really probably been the biggest driving force to the adoption, widespread abuse, some might say, of loot boxes, because that's what makes it really feel addictive. That's because people that have gambling, that's another thing. People have shown the studies when people are gambling, the chemical reactions that are happening in your brain when you're when that dealer is about to flip the card and see if you're hitting 21, or if you get that king of spades that completes your suit in poker or Texas Hold'em or something like that. The chemicals that are going on in the body, in the brain, they're very similar, identical almost, to that's happening in a game. And it's a known thing that the anticipation of rewards can oftentimes be more, they can impact us more than the reward itself. It's like when you're a kid and you're opening up birthday presents, or during Christmas time you're opening up your gifts and stuff like that. It's just that sense of opening something and having that prize there, that aspect of actually opening it can be so much more rewarding and give you so much more of a rush than the product, the end product itself. And so gaming has really been capitalizing on that. And in VR, to tie this back in all to actual VR, the VR industry has a big opportunity to truly capitalize on this. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of loot boxes. I don't really get off on it too much. In shooters Battlefield, I refer to Battlefield a lot here because I'm a big Battlefield player. But the loot boxes, I'm not the biggest fan of. And the things like with the awards popping up, Call of Duty's been doing it for a while. A lot of games have been doing it for a while, but it also made its way into Battlefield. And you get to a new rank, or you get like your 15th headshot in that match or something, and you have the ribbons popping up, and there's always stuff popping up saying how much XP you got, and you get those numbers, and there's like a auditory trigger, something plays music in the game for you getting these things. Your headshots are the challenge, your daily challenge, or your hourly challenge, or whatever. There's just so many things to just reward the player and to have stuff popping up. So I typically try to disable those if I can. I love that Battlefield does give you that ability. I believe Overwatch did as well. I'm pretty sure I turned that stuff off. I haven't played Overwatch in so long. But so I'm just not a big fan of those, because for me, I get my thrill, my rush, my enjoyment out of actually playing the game and beating my opponents. Like, that's what I want. I don't really care about getting a new shirt, or getting a blue skin for a gun and a gold skin, which I actually hate if I get those. It just doesn't make sense to me to have this gold reflecting surface on a gun. It just doesn't seem practical. So but I'm just a Debbie Downer. I'm a Solely Susan. I don't know what other terms. I'm a Debbie Downer. So yeah, I don't really care for those things. I just want to. I like to actually beat my opponents, but it doesn't mean I haven't recognized that VR has the potential to really truly capitalize on this, and it could be problematic. I mean, there's already problems with people that do get addicted to mobile games, and they end up spending a lot of money on these mobile things because they just have an addictive personality. They're susceptible to that kind of stuff, and if their willpower is strong enough that so far traditional gaming, opening that loot box in Overwatch is, it's kind of thrilling, it's kind of fun, but it's not enough for me to go and spend $500 on doing a bunch of things. CounterStrike is another big one that the stuff that you can get in that game, and some of those things sell for thousands of dollars just for a 2D game. That's CounterStrike. It's visually not that impressive of a game, CounterStrike Go, compared to things like Crisis and Battlefield and stuff like that. But these things will sell on the Steam Marketplace for thousands. A lot of them will sell for hundreds. And so people just go crazy over these different skins and things like that. So for the VR scene, because there's that sense of immersion, because you are that sense of place, that you're now in this environment, when it comes to getting skins and whatnot for your character, and you can actually look down and see, like, oh man, look at this new ghillie suit that I got. Look at this Rolex. I'm just picking that. I don't think Rolex is actually doing any deals right now with anybody. I'm just saying, like, somebody. It's a way for people to live vicariously, through their avatar and whatnot. I guess is like a part of it, like kind of like the Sims games. You live vicariously through your Sims, and neighbors driving by again, and so. Now because you're actually seeing yourself as wearing that $3,000 watch in the game, it might sell on the Steam Marketplace for $2 or whatever, but you just see yourself wearing that, and you look in a mirror and you see your reflection in the game. You're wearing these, I don't know, brand names, Dolce and Dulce. It's like sweet sugar in Spanish. Dolce and Gabbana or something like that. You see yourself wearing those shades and that designer hat. You can see those things. I feel like it's going to be a lot more impactful to these people. That if you were somewhat susceptible to that rush of unboxing things and getting that loot in a 2D game, now in VR, when you truly feel like that you're that avatar in game, and geez, it could really work over some people. But also the actual act of unboxing is going to be so much more of a thrill. Right now, you just kind of click on them. And you see this. I mean, these are specific things that developers do. You don't just Mass Effect. Mass Effect Andromeda recently had this design where you open the pack and all the cards are flipped down, and you can click on this one to flip it. You click on this one to flip it. You click on this one to flip it, and you can flip each one individually. So you're not only opening this pack and getting that rush of opening a pack, but now you're getting the rush off of each individual flip. Thankfully, they did give you, for people like myself that don't really care about it, the opportunity to just flip all. I just flip them, give them to me, put them in my inventory. I'll look at them later to customize my loadout and change my skills and my stats and all that stuff. So, you know, now for VR, Rec Room is probably the game that inspired me to make this video. In that, when you level up, there's a chance that you get a loot box, and it's actually like a box, and it has this little zip tie when you're like undoing a package in your life. You get this actual sense of the vibration in the controller as you're pulling it. Every time it pull, you get that little pop in the thing, and it actually, like when I did that, I just thought it was really cool. Like it was a great way to do haptics feedback and whatnot, and visually to hear that popping sound and whatnot. It's kind of like popping bubble pop, not bubble wrap, you know, things like that. I mean, people are gonna go crazy over this stuff. To actually be the one physically, like, imagine doing it in the game where you actually are like pulling that, and you actually have to, like, you know, you don't have to do this in Rec Room, but you know, some game might do it where you're actually having to do the, you know, flip that panel, flip that panel, flip that panel, flip that panel, like you're actually opening up a box. If you actually have like packing peanuts or something, and you actually got to like go through the packing peanuts or like pour it out, and your object actually like falls out into your room, like, I mean, man. I might even get pretty intense about that, because I'm actually awaiting an Amazon package right now. There goes the FedEx truck. He might be holding it when he drives back over here. But yeah, I mean, like that sense of when you're getting something from Amazon, you see that Amazon Prime, and you just open it up, and you just like, you know, which thing that I recently purchased, which is this going to be? There's just that sense of opening stuff, you know, that mystery of what's inside the box. And if you guys have never seen it, watch UHF. UHF. A fantastic film from probably the 80s, from Weird Al Yankovic. And there's this hysterical game show that they do, what's in the box kind of scene on Wheel of Fish. And, you know, you just, that sense of mystery of what's in the box. And I feel like addiction and things like that are gonna only become more common when these loot boxes step into the realm of VR and developers start really capitalizing on loot boxes in VR. That aspect of people actually opening them, actually having to like dump the object out and picking that object up, and being able to like slap that new watch on your wrist, or put that tattoo or tribal tattoo or something, like the next Far Cry that comes out, you know, actually be able to put that on there. You know, what's that going to do to their dopamine receptors and whatnot at this point? Like, are they just going to lose it and just go crazy over it, and then end up spending $300 that night on just opening up more loot boxes and whatnot? It's just crazy, guys. I mean, what VR can do to your... I cannot wait for all the psychological studies that start coming out about VR. Like, you know, video games as murder simulators has been a hot topic for years with GTA 3 and stuff like that. And Jack, what was that lawyer guy? Jack Thompson. Oh man, yeah, with that, like, I mean, and it's fairly recently we've gotten to that point where news media outlets, they don't really bother mentioning, yeah, is CounterStrike to blame for this shooting? Is the new GTA to blame for this shooting, for this increase in crime, even though violent crimes has been on a decline since the 90s? That's not what the media will make it sound like, though. You know, we've only just now gotten to that point where nobody really cares about that anymore, and judges don't care. They don't even want to listen to that crap, because so many studies have come out saying that there are no links to true behavioral impacts. This probably should have been its own separate video, we've only just now gotten to that point recently. But now with VR, it's a whole new ball game. There's that extra level of you actually, being the one doing these actions and not just hitting A and seeing those actions reflected. You actually having to pick that knife up and stab it into the player or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of took a turn for the worst here, talking about loot boxes and happiness and stabbing people. But yeah, what do you guys? I'll actually do a separate video on that. I'll do that right after recording this one. So I hope you be on the lookout for that. We'll go into it more, kind of see what I can think of. I never do any scripts, so yeah, we'll see what I can come up with there. Yeah. But until then, I hope you guys have enjoyed this 6th episode of the VR Essays series, and keep an eye out for more. And ta-ta.